So I just wanted to give a little testimony, and hopefully this helps somebody out. That's the main reason I share this story, and I share it often. December the 10th in 2021, I tested positive for the C19 thing, and in the morning, early in the morning, and I felt fine. There wasn't anything happening to me. In fact, it didn't really even set in until Monday or Tuesday, and the December the 10th in 2021 was a Friday. So that evening, somewhere around 9 o'clock, I'm not sure, I got these incredible chest pains, to the point where I thought my lungs were possibly filling up with something, with the disease or whatever. And it really scared me. I didn't know what was going on. My poor wife had a phone up to each ear, and she's calling different people, finding out what to do. And somebody said, get him to chew up an aspirin. And I did that. And the pain that was in my chest was, it was pretty severe. And my fear was actually having to be hooked up to a ventilator because of what had been going on with so many people at that time. But then as I sat down on the couch, I reclined, still in a lot of pain. I was broke out in a cold sweat. I was trembling, shaking, sweating, but freezing at the same time. I took a deep breath, and it actually put me a little bit at ease. And I told my wife, call 911. I'm having a heart attack. So that's how the evening started. And they came and got me in the ambulance, and the volunteer fire department guys are awesome. They've helped me out so many times. Took me to the hospital. They said, put this under your tongue, let it dissolve. And I asked them what it was, and they told me it was nitroglycerin. I said, aha, I knew it. I knew I was having a heart attack. So that's what had happened to me. And that was 3 years ago today, right about this time. And so from there, about 5 o'clock in the morning, they took me down to the cath lab and ran some cameras up through me, and were able to, they found a blockage on the right side of my heart. I can't remember what that's called. And they were able to pop that one open. It was 100% occluded. They were able to pop that one open and put a stent in. However, the one on the left side, what they call the LAD, they've dubbed it the Widowmaker, that one was so calcified and so hard that they couldn't get through it. And it had grown a couple of its own little arteries to do basically a natural bypass. But it wasn't good enough. And so that's the way I stayed for about a year, until I ended up having a laparoscopic singular bypass done by just an incredible surgeon, one of the best in the country, as far as I've been told. Great guy, and a great hospital. Just everything was awesome with them. Treated me like I was someone special. They really did. And so what I really want to come up, the reason I'm bringing this up is how am I doing now? I'll be honest with you. I don't even go to the doctors anymore. I'm not getting checked out or anything. My blood pressure is remaining consistent at I checked it yesterday afternoon, it was 115 or 112 over 75, which is perfect. I exercised today. My exercise involved cutting firewood and carrying logs to pile them up. My heart rate hit a couple times, hit 140 beats a minute in that in about a 2-hour time of cutting and not splitting, but cutting and carrying the firewood. That was my exercise for the first 2 years after having the heart attack. And then again, the C19 thing started hitting me, and I started coughing and lost all my energy. And I was, I was going through a pretty rough time a few days after the heart attack. So for the next couple weeks, I was struggling. I have to say, I was definitely the worst I've ever been in my life. And this was at age 57. After a few weeks from there, I started walking. Was able to go out and take short walks. Start to regain my strength. And that, just started progressing. That whole ordeal, I went from 194 pounds, I'm 5'9". I went from 194 pounds down to 163 pounds. And I remained that 163 pounds for a short while, I don't know, a month, 2 months. And I stopped eating certain things. I had a lot of time on my hands, so I spent a lot of time watching YouTube and Googling and researching the best that I can, And in that research, I started learning what actually caused my heart attack. And at 57 years old, and just want to put it out there, I have lost friends, good friends. I've lost family members at 50 years old, and a little later, 50 to 55, 57, whatever. I lost them to heart attacks. And some of the people I went to school with lost them, to heart attacks. They weren't able to come to our high school reunion, stuff like that. And it's just sad. And I just started researching because they put me on several medications. And I'm not going to badmouth them. They put me on several medications that lowered blood pressure, lowered cholesterol, help to work to heal the heart muscle, things like that. And I started, researching how long am I supposed to be on this, because I don't like taking medication. So I was researching how long to stay on these. And honestly, those medications, I was able to get off of them starting, from 3 to 6 months. According to the manufacturer, I was able to get off of them. And I bugged my, at that time, cardiologist to, I want to get off of them. Let me off of them. If you looked at me, I would bruise so bad. A simple little nick from shaving would bleed for 8 hours. I wanted off the blood thinners. I wanted off all that stuff. And I really started researching, what causes the heart attack? What causes all this stuff to happen? And here's what I found. I'm going to make this note right now. I am not a doctor. I am not a doctor. I am a redneck barbecue guy who used to be a carpenter and worked in construction most of his life, who drank a lot of alcohol, a lot of beer, and smoked cigarettes for 15 years. That's who I was. And my food, my daily food, being in the construction business, I ate a lot of sandwiches, a whole lot of sandwiches, because I could drive and eat. They were easy to pack. And I mean, I literally ate 2 breakfast sandwiches on the way to work, hitting McDonald's, stuff like that. And then I'd eat a sandwich at 9 o'clock and 2 more sandwiches at 12 o'clock for lunch. And then at 2:30 in the afternoon, I'd be getting a tasty cake. On the way home, I'd get a cup of coffee, maybe another little bun, stuff like that. I was living off of what is now referred to the SAD, S-A-D, the Standard American Diet. That's what I lived off of. That's the way I did things. I was normal, a normal American. Didn't know it at the time, overweight. So in the first 2 years after having the heart attack, I did a lot of research. And in doing that research, I found that what worked for me and what I believe, and I'm not a doctor, what I believe helped me tremendously was to change my diet and to do a normal routine exercise. So I would go out 3 times a week and I'd walk 3 miles, fast pace. I would do some light weightlifting, lightweight training, and I did that for 2 years. And the first year after having the heart attack, I wasn't able to. I wasn't at my prime. Let's just put it that way. There's a thing called ejection fraction percentage, EF percentage. It has to do with, I believe, how much blood your heart can pump out and get into your body. And because I hadn't had the bypass yet, that percentage would go down into the low 30s under a stress level. And it's not good. And so after the bypass, it went up in my continuing to exercise, and I healed very, very fast. And they said it was because of the exercising and the way that I had changed my diet. That EF percentage went up into the mid, within, 2 to 3 months, went up to the mid 50s, where it's supposed to be at my age. At that time, I was 59 years old. My diet, what I learned to eat through watching different doctors, and I will name these doctors, Dr. Sten Ekberg, Dr. Mark Hyman, Dr. Nadir Ali, Eric Berg, these different doctors, I'm watching them. Dr. Ford Brewer. Dr. Ford Brewer headed up a department for 10 years at Johns Hopkins in the cardiology department. So his word, what he says, I hold pretty high, and I esteem pretty high. And I will trust Dr. Ford Brewer and Dr. Nadir Ali, who's an awesome cardiologist as well. I'll trust these guys before anybody else. And I listen to their teachings. And what these men taught, and it wasn't just men that I watched, but what these people taught was the cholesterol is a marker. Having high cholesterol, this is what they said, having high cholesterol, there is no solid proof that having high cholesterol is actually what causes heart disease and atherosclerosis, which is what I had. They explained that the cholesterol is a marker. So if you have, if you have low HDL, you have trouble. In which I had low HDL. My HDL level before the heart attack was in the 30s. Low 30s. It's bad. It should be double that. but definitely well in the 40s. But my LDL cholesterol, they've never been able to get it down. When I first started after having a heart attack, the cardiologist put me on a statin, and it took my LDL cholesterol number down to 70. And he was happy about that, but he wanted it down to 50. And I'm watching these shows at that time about eating healthy fats and eating healthy foods and exercising. And so I started eating salmon and sardines and avocados, things like that, grass-fed beef. I started eating these things that are filled with healthy fats. And even though I was on the statin, it shot my LDL cholesterol right back up over 100. And he was upset about it. And I said, well, let's do a test called a advanced lipid profile. And so I want to know what my LDL particle size is. I want to know what my LDL HDL ratio is, and the number of particles of LDL particles and things like that. And they were reluctant to do that stuff for me, but they did. They signed up. They signed it up and said it was okay. So I had the blood test done, and what I found was through eating the healthy fats and exercising, that my LDL particle size had increased to a healthy level where they call it lipoprotein A. That's a healthy LDL cholesterol. And I won't get into all the details, all the stuff that they taught. If you want to learn about the whole cholesterol argument, look these guys up. Dr. Mark Hyman, he really explains it well. Again, Dr. Nadir Ali, they explain it well. They've done so much research and put so much time into this. Dr. Ford Brewer. And honestly, what they convinced me of is if my cholesterol numbers are in the high 200s and my LDL particle size is a large, buoyant, healthy size, then I'm in good shape, because cholesterol is a marker. Those numbers are markers. If you have low HDL, there's something wrong. If you have a large amount of small damaged LDL cholesterol, you have a problem. And that problem is called inflammation. And inflammation in your blood and in your organs is the biggest problem that we have in America. It is the number one cause of many cancers, heart disease, atherosclerosis, strokes, diabetes, and so on. Especially type 2 diabetes. I think type 1, you may be, that might be, type 1 I believe is genetic. Type 2, you brought it on yourself. And it's from eating the standard American diet, where we eat ultra-processed foods, breads, cereals, donuts. I think I saw the other day, Dr. Ford Brewer put out an awesome video just 3 days ago, where the Food and Drug Administration actually said that eggs are dangerous. And what cereal was it? Cheerios, I think. Some Cheerios or some cereal was supposed to be healthy for you. That you should eat this cereal and not eat the eggs, and which is, do it for yourself. This is what I did. I stopped eating the cereals, which I used to eat every day, before my heart attack, I had cereal for breakfast. Once I got out of the construction business and got into the restaurant business, I ate cereal for breakfast because it was quick and easy. I used to love Honey Nut Cheerios. I ate it all the time. And the donuts, not a whole lot of donuts, but the Tasty Cakes. Tasty Cakes, I was a sucker for them, man. Tasty Cake apple pies, Nutri-Grain bars, all that stuff. It's all ultra processed. It's made with ultra processed flour. There's so many ingredients in it. Just so much stuff. The high fructose corn syrup. There's maltodextrin, something like that, whatever. But all these things, ultra processed, they're all very high on what's called the glycemic index, which means as soon as you eat them, they turn into sugar almost immediately, and it causes your body to produce insulin, a lot of insulin. And if this is a continuing thing, it's constant through your life, then what happens is your body becomes insulin resistant. Your cells don't absorb the insulin anymore, and your body becomes a mess, and there's inflammation. A lot of people who have arthritis and bad joints and things like that, they take pills for that stuff, or get this or get that. And honestly, let's put it this way. If I eat something that's high on the glycemic index, if I eat some bread, and I'm talking a little bit of bread, if I eat a couple slices of baguette, something cut off a baguette, not real big, something small like that. If I eat a couple pieces of that, maybe enjoy a glass of wine and have that, then the next day and 2 days later, I have tremendous pain in almost every joint in my body. My knees, my lower back, my elbows, my wrists, all that stuff hurts because I ate those couple slices of bread. And I've tested it several times because I don't eat that stuff. And typically I feel good, except for when I do something stupid like fall down and rip a shoulder, or turn the wrong way and tweak my back. That's life, I am 60 years old. You don't have to be 60 to tweak your back. I did it plenty of times in my 30s and 40s. But at any rate, if you look up something before you eat it, look it up. Just Google, where is such and such on the glycemic index? Take this one, it's supposed to be healthy for you, oatmeal. Where is oatmeal on the glycemic index? You'll be shocked. The only oatmeal that I will eat, if I eat oatmeal at all, is steel cut. Anything else is up there on the glycemic index, which causes inflammation in your body. It's not good for you. One of the things they discuss and talk about is fatty liver disease. You can get fatty liver disease and never have had a drop of alcohol in your whole life. And it's from eating the standard American diet and not exercising. One of the best ways, let me get back on the cholesterol a little bit. One of the best ways to lower your bad cholesterol, which is the damaged LDL cholesterol, not your healthy LDL cholesterol, but your damaged LDL cholesterol. The way to lower that, one of the best ways, to go out and take a walk. Go walk for a couple miles. And it does wonders for your body. It changes the numbers for insulin resistance. It makes you more insulin sensitive. Get your blood flowing. It's good for you. Just take a simple walk. And with the whole cholesterol thing, one of the things I know I'm jumping around a bunch, but it's just I'm whatever pops in my head at the time, it's what I'm going to talk about. with the whole cholesterol thing, one of the things I learned with statins is they say it'll raise your HDL. Well, it will raise your HDL maybe 2 points. So if your HDL cholesterol number is at 35, it'll bring it up to 37. That's it. And that's straight from the manufacturer. That's from their, their information. It will lower your LDL cholesterol. It'll lower the overall number. But it will not, and I repeat, this is what just simple Googling, it will not lower the number of the small damaged oxidized LDL cholesterol, which is the one that penetrates your arterial walls, endo something. It penetrates those walls and builds up plaque inside of your arterial walls. That's the killer. That is the killer. The damaged LDL cholesterol and calcium that's not going to your bones, but it's being stuck in your blood because it has no place to go. And there's a whole nother story on vitamin D3 and K2 that's very important. And it's why you should watch these doctors. These guys know what they're talking about. When that stuff gets in your arterial walls, that's when you have a problem. And it can happen around your heart. It can happen up in your carotids. And cause it, and when that stuff builds up and it'll go into a crack in your arterial wall and build up and work its way even out of that crack, and a piece will break off, and that's called a clot, and that goes to your brain. You have a stroke or die, or die. If it's around your heart, breaks off, it goes into your heart, you have a heart attack, and that's what happened with me. And it damaged a portion of the bottom of my heart. But that through taking a supplement called CoQ10 with ubiquinol, through exercise, through eating healthy, my heart has healed. And so that's where I am. So did I stop taking walks? I did about a year ago. Why? Because I got into firewood, and I love to cut firewood, cut it, split it, stack it. I sell it as a little side hustle. And I can run my heart rate up pretty fast working with firewood, especially if I split it by hand. So I'm going to wrap this all up. And if I were to give any advice, if you were going to take my advice, which I'm not a doctor, I'm just a redneck. If you're going to take my advice, it is change your diet. Eat whole foods. Whole foods. I don't even care if they're organic or any of that stuff. Eat whole foods. Cook a chicken. Cook a steak. Grass-fed's better for you. It's got different cellular compounds to it that are just much better than the grain-fed. Doesn't taste as good. So what? Cook it right. Learn how to cook, and you'll cook that steak or that burger to where you like it. Get rid of the crackers, the bread, the donuts, the tasty cakes, all those ultra-processed foods. Get rid of them. Get rid of the potato chips. I used to eat a lot of them too. Potato chips, super starchy, turns right to sugar. Eat whole foods, healthy fats, wild-caught salmon, Gulf shrimp, wild-caught Gulf shrimp, sardines. I eat a lot of sardines. Not because I like them. Put some mustard on them. And I eat everything in extra virgin olive oil. Extra virgin olive oil, I go through a lot of it. I make my salads for lunch. I eat a few salads a week for lunch, probably four salads a week for lunch. And my salad dressing is, I put a little bit of extra virgin olive oil, a good extra virgin olive oil that I actually researched, and some red wine vinegar. And a 50-50 mixture, shake it up and pour it over your salad. It's fantastic. Put a little salt and pepper on your salad, a clove of garlic, mince that up, throw it in your salad raw. It's great. All these things are so helpful. You can, and this is straight from Dr. Ford Brewer, who had atherosclerosis, who had a blockage in his carotid arteries. He reversed the atherosclerosis. He reversed it and unclogged his, there was I think he said it was about a 90% clog. He unclogged it by eating salmon almost every day. And in fact, I think he said he ate salmon every day for 2 years. And that fatty, healthy fat, oils from that fish, that stuff, it clears your arteries. It makes you healthy. It's also good for your joints. So exercise, simple exercise. Take a walk a couple of times a week, 2-3 times a week. Go out and walk for a half hour. It's so good for you. If you smoke, just don't. Just stop it. Quit. I did. I smoked heavy for 15 years and quit cold turkey through the prayers of my children and my wife. Just stopped cold turkey. Get off the sugary foods, the junk food, the fast food, all the trans fats, fast food trans fats, French fries, all that stuff. Get off of that and go more toward just whole foods. Extra virgin olive oil, a lot of that, avocados. So anyway, thank you for your time. I hope this helps. I really hope this helps. And is it to answer all to all? Is this the cure all? I'm not going to say that, but it will definitely help you. It will help you immensely. So yeah, thank you for listening. Thank you for watching, and God bless you. And I really hope this helps you to overcome this whole way of life of Americans now, whom 93% of Americans, 93% are metabolically challenged. They are in bad metabolic health, with well over 40% in the obese category. Remember, I weighed 194 pounds when I had the heart attack. I dropped to 163 pounds. I now have been maintaining a steady 167 pounds with 20% body fat for about 2 years. And I don't work at it. I really don't. I cut firewood as a hobby, and I don't eat trash. I eat some trash, a little bit here and there. I will chomp down a couple ounces of mac and cheese that I make in my shop. But it is very few and far between. The majority of the food that I eat, 97% of the food that I eat, is whole foods and healthy fats. God bless you all. Have a great night.